My personal situation and feeling over the movie Ghostbusters. It is the most historically inaccurate, screwed up, whatever you want to call it, situation over everything, anti Semitic and everything else. And it's like, I've listened to the Robin Williams joke where it's like, he was the most anti Semitic Jew, but I loved him for keeping everybody honest that I ever knew in my life. I'll always miss him. Bye. And he was talking at like this funeral for a guy on a comedy thing he was doing. And I just have to look at it and go, how can you do this? It's like Gozer is the guardian of the well of hell and everything else, where people come back from the Jewish dead or whatever it is and re-arise and retake their history, their country, their countries that they've made, and it goes back to like original values and everything else. And it's like the last time they did that, the USA killed off 15% of all of its Jewish population. And it's like all the souls were coming back to earth to walk amongst them, and they were coming back from the sky. Now it's like they're coming back from the ground and everything else out of a mountain. And they always go on about Sumerian and everything. And there's an old guy that thinks that if he's somehow with them or something else, he's going to be reborn and that he can live together with them. And I'm like going, dude, you're like the Christian that goes, I must be Jewish and with you. And it's like, no. And it's like in Spain, Gozer was made of crystals and stuff like that, and from the mines that they banished them into and killed them all and forced them into being horde-like things and everything else that's like goblins and stuff and everything else. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And then over in Sumeria, there was a place where they had an eternal sacrificial well that they threw people into and everything else, and they carried off the northern tribes to there. And they, in order to make the golems and things out there, it's like, oh, you put your soul or magic or something into it to make these statues and things come alive to be like great warriors or something else, like golems in a way. And that's where it's like the hellhounds come from. And it's like the gatekeeper and the keymaster. And it's like, oh, we're going to put them in there and we're going to bake them in the oven. And they're going to come out and they're going to fight for us and have these abilities and stuff. And it's like, no. Nope. They did do that to them. And in a way, all the fallen, whoever it is, will just come back above and re-rise themselves from whatever it is. And it goes all the way back to Dominion, where they would throw different people into the pit, so to speak of. And it would just be a constant running lake of fire because they had like tar and unrefined oil in it. So it would take care of everyone who was in there and all that. And it's just what you do with the wounded, because, you have to get rid of them as quickly as possible. They'll probably confess something right before they go in, and you can use it for whatever it is, but you get rid of them as quick as possible. You don't waste your resources on rehealing dead, dying people. And it's like, honestly, it's like even back when I was at the mine, and they have so many people who are like related to famous people or else took over their families and been like, well, it's not part of American culture and everything else, and replaced them and everything. And they're like they're the Pope Pius people. It's basically like how he would have done the Third Reich instead of Mussolini and the papacy. And they just have people go out there and randomly replace people and be like, would you not choose me over whoever that other person is? And, the ones in Spain are called Jews because magically they're magic spies that can take the place of people. They don't have to make up anything. They just take your stuff and live that way. And generally they're sent out after the Jewish people that still belong to like the outcast, the legendary squad that's not of a diet nature. and they just can't ever eat lamb unless they go to a place where the lamb is slain in Revelations on the throne. Therefore, the Creator cannot make them confess their languages, linguistics, and will. And now they all have to do that again because Spain's the construct. And, it's a spiritual thing that supposedly goes across borders, even though the United States was not founded on Christianity, but the nation that came over and colonized and remade everybody who left, like the Pilgrims, slaves, and everything else again, said it was founded on Christianity. And I'm just going, yeah. I'll kid you not, there was a thing of Bill Murray when I was sending in most of my stuff that came out and goes, you Jews are attacking the United States of America. And it's like, technically that's why they had so much Hebrew taught in the colleges, because people who were still the slave mind could only speak Hebrew. And most of the Native Americans, when they came over to speak with them, could speak Hebrew. That's how they were able to instantly translate and get along, as they brought along a slave that could speak Hebrew, and you just go, he has to be black, or else it's not true. And it's like, no. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And you just look at it and you find so much stupid that it's just ridiculous with it. I mean, it really is, with how they have basically like some sort of rebirth in Oklahoma of all things. And it's like, what are they going there to do? To kill the Native Americans that supposedly were on the list, that when they got here, they would start up the ovens and the cannibalistic hunting ritual ceremonies and see who would fall on bended knee when they said the N-word at them. And I'm sure that there would be someone out there, because I remember when they beat up people in Knoxville to say that Buck only meant them and not anything for the Desert Southwest when they saw the movie The Searchers. Same with people going off about sex slavery, Orientals having their babies eaten, or anything else, and it was all other people. And it's like, some people just live for whatever it is, and it's like, the only people I know that will give you everything are white people. And it's like, here, take this, it never happened to us. And then anybody who's brown that still says, I'm whatever, it's like, I'm brown from overseas, really. I just need to do what they say. And I mean, honestly, this whole thing with the Ghostbusters is just like, are we trying to secondary tribal a group of people in basically Sumerian, and it be the Jews or something else? And you can all be like, it's Conan the Barbarian, and it's like, that's why a lot of people in the Iberian and Conan areas have that assimilation or something very similar to it. There's also a few other places out there that they say is really similar, and it's just that this is a situation or thing that comes up every time. It's like guarding the gateways to heaven, guarding the gateways to hell, guarding the gateways to everything. And people go, it's too much of an English phononym, Colin, with what you're saying. And I'm just going, it's really a bunch of Jewish curses and like Jewish culture coming back and everything else like that. And it's like, everyone's supposed to go out there and kill off the Jews and stop them from whatever it is. And it's like, I mean, in a way, I watch Doom, and it's like, all the people in the Senate that were loyal, all the people who liked the USA and Rome and everything else, that didn't have a problem with it, that probably were with the assassinated Pope from the Godfather situation, were all sent off to war in Afghanistan and Iraq to die. All of them were sent off to go and die, systematically, person by person, and it was a choice to go there, and for $5 more, if you're on a security detail, you didn't count as real death, and the United States didn't record you, which is a fact. It's actual legislation. The real death toll body count in the first year of Iraq, actually in the first 4 weeks, was 50,000, 30,000, 40,000, then 60,000, 68,000, 75,000. Add all those numbers together, and you get every time they drove a major fertilizer bomb with parts and everything, and even flew in MiGs that were left out there in the different areas into the center and dropped tractor trailer bombs and everything else with altimeters on them, and took over areas where the Iraqi Defense Forces, because that's what you call the USA and the Allies when they were there, were eating chow. Reported on NBC, Tom Brokaw. I'm probably sure I'm crushed maybe 1 or 2 in, so let's just say it's 3 months on nightly news. People don't believe me, but this stuff was said on there. Who watches the 6:30 news? What were you, unemployed? I was thin and good looking and had muscles. But as it is, I just look at it and go, this is a fitting end after seeing Dune and how it's like everybody went off and said they would do their duty. And the corporate guys, like Halliburton and them, I know they're going to throw Blackwater in, so we'll just go ahead and mention the big security companies came in and killed off everybody else. Or maybe it's just Blackwater's people getting killed off and other stuff and everything that you heard about. And, somebody over there going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's like for every dead person, I get 500 bones. I wonder if that's why they started calling it bones beforehand, so they could, desensitize themselves to it. And in a way, this was a perfect cap for us losing a war to Imperial Japan. As President Obama said, the emperor could, President Bill Clinton said the emperor could marry anybody he wanted to. President Obama said and decreed that all Japanese people and people of descent from the islands of Japanese are underneath the emperor's situation. They no longer want to be the secondary tribal, so they can execute anybody and their families that is married in that was a Japanese Jew. They just look Japanese. So, in and of this, almost everything's been given back except for full outright autonomy. So they'll probably let it go another 20 years and everything else and see it all consolidates in and see where they all go to. Then they can pick them off and find out where they are exactly. And they even have the right to go to other countries to remove their Japanese population for that which is their own need. That's what President Obama said. And as it is, I just look at it and go, absolutely ridiculous. But it's reality. And with them putting a cap on top of Gozer and everything else, and where it's like those that were the ones that had fought so hard to regain their country and everything else. And I'll even be honest, most of the history that I know of, I can't really think that good. They all came out, hit me with the Wi-Fi thing, made me really fat and everything. It's like, I hope I don't die from diabetes or something. I don't have it. Guess I'm a perfect candidate for it. But I'm going to go down here and I'm going to try and work out, get back into shape, and honestly, start doing all the history that I know of. I mean, I've got one box here that I'm going to put a bar of silver in with. And it's 10 ounces. That should cover it, for when I'm dead. And send it in, and it's the truth. It's the truth. And, there's going to be a lot of names that I leave out of stuff because they were innocent people. The others weren't innocent people, and they're like, oh, that was me embellishing and talking about it. See, I have to be on the stand and say it because I'm a real American, and you can't ever catch us for anything. It's like, it's because you went and took over the Social Security Department, took all the paper that was there and reground it up in a blender with water, and pressed it back out to be the same thickness on screen and everything else, and cardboard and other stuff, and then started typing with a typewriter and cut it out to the right size and said Social Security number on it. Does not mean you're an American. I had one of those, and I had a principal tear it up in front of me and said it wasn't any good. And I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's like I kept that thing around so I could keep the fingerprints on it. And I don't care. I really don't. And, it's just what they did because they were Christians, like the guy in the thing that was in the glass in the Ghostbusters. And he's like, I wanted to rule with you and be reborn and everything else, and we can all do this because we're the same. And it's like, and whether it's Native American sickness to Jewish sickness to whatever else, I can't stand it and everything. And it's like, the nickel poison that I got where they zap me in my pancreas and stuff now and then over at the mine when I worked there. It's no different than them using whatever it is with their little Ghostbuster things. Just and it's like, we're killing off your spirits and you're just a bag or whatever. Your ancestors are coming out and they're coming into me. And it's like they stand underneath the ground and they jump up and go, they're biting my supposed testicles off and everything else. And then they start hitting on the spikes to drive me nuts with everything. You go, oh, we have the right to your family and everything else because we're Jews from Spain. It's like, I understand what you're saying, but it's too convoluted because it's too simple. And it's like, as every kindergartner goes, when you go to the KGB, you don't go and be like, I'm a spy from America going to infiltrate the highest parts of the Russian government. You go, I'm a Russian. I've always been a Russian. And I'm going to get in there with it. I have a fraternal order that's over here that is called McDonald's JCPenney's. That is American. And you'll believe that I'm one of you because I bring you clothing and food. And it's like, at least the Ghostbusters knew. Granted, it's all messed up with the history and everything else. And it's like, look, we can turn it on. We can just not turn on anything. Throw out everything else and say, this is how it really is. And, they put a cap on it and buried the bodies of Dune somewhere deep down underneath whatever the hell it was there. And it is like, seriously, I'm going, my God, it's like anti-Semitic Christian schizophrenia. And I mean, it is illegal to say that this nation was founded on Christianity. This country was founded on Christianity. You're saying you're a colonial power that we killed and threw out. I mean, it's in the legislation, and it's why there was the Declaration of Independence. It's why there was everything else, and everybody keeps going, you Britons with your thing of 1649 committee or whatever it is, or 1689 committee, when England came back over and established the rule of the church and made human sacrifices out of people and said, thou all are slaves. And they said, now we're going to have to reteach the white ones amongst you that you all say is your family, and they're not allowed to take slaves except to where their own home area is so they can find out whatever it is. As the Native Americans had black people and were an ancient race. They may be predominantly red, but they also had yellows and whites. And, some people say they have browns, but that's like, you know, tastes great, less filling, north, whatever it is, south version of stuff. And they just go, so the Civil War was Native American. And I'm just like, can someone tell that yellow-headed ancient race, Japanese guy? I mean, seriously, there's like 3 people, and it's like, whatever it is, it's whenever they have natural yellow hair. And it's like this guy's starting to pull a gun on me. And I swear I can hear him bitching like right down that way at my dad's home computer. He's a cop. He ain't supposed to be a cop because his family participated in World War II. They were brought over here for Reconstruction, just like Blair Conley and everything. I go, oh, you must be one of the holies, for only you can go everywhere and know everything about it. And I was told this is sexual harassment all the way back to high school. Yes, master. Yes, master. Don't hit me. And he'd go around there and say, so is Colin trained enough for me to actually be around him or anything else? And it's like, every time they do something or else they take that little breath right before it's like, yes, master, I will do as you say. What do you need, master? Okay, I'll go away now. Wait, did he just get away from us? And it's absolutely ridiculously crazy that these people keep doing this and keep on doing all this stuff. I really don't understand it. And I'm like, the USA will just scream that it doesn't have enough to keep their souls going or anything else. And it's like, you want to know what the Dark Age is? They just rely too much on anything. Anyway, I'm going to stop this one right here and talk to you later. Have a wonderful day and a great time. I'm sure somehow or another I'm defaming everyone, saying I'm related to them, which is what people downtown Knoxville have said and gone on about and everything else. But as it is, no, leave me alone. If that was related, there'd have been at least 5 national holidays or 1 there, or else our allowed family reunion. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and there's my thoughts on just God. How anti-Semitic of a movie and like genocidal over whatever it is, and even if it's rising from the ashes of the earth or the sky, somehow someone's going to bring back whatever it is. I mean, it's ridiculous what happens here. And I'm really sorry to the last group of writers. They also told me over at a strip club it was a military tribunal and that all I do is fiction. And I'm like, it's not fiction. The werewolf thing that I wrote was fiction, unless they really did do something whenever I was like walking around Concord Park and I'm hearing the souls of something that died in the 80s.